Hello, my name is Trent Knox. This is the Trent Knox Show. Welcome to my show. It's me in front of a camera where I talk to Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing what it is. And shout out to Stream Beats, Sam Heller, for the DMCA free music in the background. I just got done recording another amazing Esports Business Network podcast with Drew Proctor of Esports Careers Podcast. And I thought to myself, I haven't done a Trent Knox show or a podcast for myself, my personal brand, in a long time. I had one of the most roller coaster quarter one, quarter two. I don't even think I even talked about quarter one. I guess I did do a video in quarter one, a few different videos in quarter one. But man, was I just like not in the best of places. Quarter two, I did move into a new apartment, and I had an amazing campaign with Tipalti, working on evangelizing about their software and their tech stack and everything that they have in the gaming and esports space. I am going to turn off this. Now I feel a whole lot better. Not just hearing myself back into the headset, because I set up a new setup. I talked about doing this for a long time, about getting my new studio set up and everything, and I'm feeling kind of comfortable with where it's at. I had equipment that I hadn't set up yet. I have a Zoom Live Track L8 that I got from my mama for a birthday present or Christmas present or something like that. She picked it up off of Best Buy. It was a really interesting thing, because when it first got announced, the Zoom Live Track L8, it was like on pre-order, then not on pre-order, then it was on pre-order, and then it was sold out, and then it was a weird situation. But she ended up getting it, and I've used it on a few different video productions so far, for podcasting and for like an actual like interview kind of setup where there was two guests, and they interview each other for like an Amazon series thing that I was on a production for. And so all this I have to say is, like, I feel kind of empty in a way. I'm the most full I've ever been. I have had the most opportunity career-wise and entrepreneurially as I've ever had in my life in this year, and sort of on the tail end of 2020. One thing I've stayed consistent in doing is this Esports Business Network podcast that I just got done doing. And, you know, I put a lot of work into the Esports Business Network. Money, sweat, equity in networking and different things. And, you know, it's kind of a summation of a lot of other different projects that have gone on, from Austin Live and Local to Cyber City Media to Trent Knox to all the things that have been going on. And I'm kind of not sure what's next. Of course, you know, it seems like every single time I do one of these things, something different happens, whether it be the pandemic or if it's just like me taking the next step in life, whether that be getting my first apartment or, you know, setting up this studio or doing something that is meaningful or impactful in some way toward my journey in life. A bit of reflection. Of course, I want to improve As a content creator, I want to elevate my game, make better content, produce stuff that people consider to be, high quality, extremely valuable, whatever that means. But I recently took a consulting session with one of the top producers of podcasts in the game. In my top 5, Lee Syed. I consulted with him about the Esports Business Network podcast, and what I can do to improve the production value and everything the that the audience gets, that I get, that companies see in partnering with the Esports Business Network, and good feedback, great feedback. In fact, as far as what I can do to better that campaign, that mission. Yeah, so I mean, I'm continuing to work hard on what I do. I have for a while kind of slacked off in a way with the Esports Business Network. I was producing the podcast, but I wasn't really promoting it at the level that I feel like I could be really promoting it. I just wanted to make sure that I got that production in. So the 2020, the season or the year of 2020, produced a podcast every single week that released on Monday for the Esports Business Network. And I've stayed consistent with doing that in 2021. I just recorded the 50th episode. I say we because I do collaborate with other people in production, with other contractors. I've yet to really hire anybody on full time or even part time in doing that. But I mean, big shout outs to Cameron, Jacob, to who am I forgetting? That's a bit of the problem. That's some of the problem is I'm forgetting people that have been contractors, because it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss what I can give and what I receive when it comes to building this thing. And what I mean, I also mean kind of we, because ultimately Esports Business Network, I want it to be a company that facilitates the the financial needs of other people who want to work in the gaming and esports industry. As it goes right now, it's that building process. It's about establishing Esports Business Network as a brand, and continuing to market it, and continuing to produce things, because really, after talking to Knives Monroe yesterday, he brought a lot of things into front of mind for me, in the sense that content is not in the conversion game. There's content converts, but content is largely branding. You create content for people to see the art that you make, to resonate with the message behind the brand. And that's really what content marketing is. And influencer marketing, like what I was working with Topalti on with myself, Trent Knox, and EBN, and also Cyber City Media, and everything that is associated with me. Of course, there's the Trent Knox brand, but there's also the Trent Knox, the person. We worked on that campaign. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had. Working with a company that was, it could easily, and a company of their size could easily adopt something new and do something that was both challenging and rewarding at the same time. A lot of companies that are of their size, are faced with red tape and certain things that kind of slow down the process. Now it was a learning experience. There were some slow things, and there were some really incredible things that happened really fast. But um, it was an experience that I think I'll take into my next deal that I make, which I'm looking at right now, and really provide a lot of value to that company. Um, whether it be a beef jerky company, whether it be a peripheral company, whether it be a consumer packaged goods company, whatever it may be. The experience that I got from working for Tipalti and with Tipalti um, will be awesome. Um, what else? What more can I say? Um, about that. That was just a great situation, great opportunity, and it kind of opened my eyes a little bit more to what kind of opportunities and what kind of deals I want to make in the future. Um, I guess. Well, actually, if I kind of look back at it, quarter quarter one, a period in quarter one, and obviously a little bit of pre of last year, I was producing. I was producing for Tom and Jonathan as well, and so their two brands are Tom's brand is Flip Anything USA, and Jonathan's brand is the Radical Center, and producing for them. I got some experience, but really had no perspective when it comes to those two things because they're really they're the there are clients that are for Cyber City Media, and Cyber City Media is something I'm still trying to get off the ground at the same time that I'm trying to get Trent Knox off the ground in a way. And they kind of contribute to each other, but at the same time, they're not really the same service, or they're not really the same. They don't really offer the same services. They don't offer the same um, solutions or products to put it into context. Um, so when I approached, when I approach a situation like that, um I was approaching it from the wrong perspective, and now I think I'm going to approach these things from a better perspective. I mean, what the things that I think I want for Cyber City Media and the things that I want for Trent Knox um, are have evolved. Simple enough. I think reflecting on some of the past uh, employment or employment opportunities that I've had from service industry jobs like bartending or washing cars, valet, those things that I did, waiting tables, those things, they were kind of like, you'd hope they last forever kind of things, or as long as possible. But no finite, like no finite time frame in which that I would move on to the next, opportunity, like or get a promotion or something like that. That just wasn't what I was thinking was going to happen in those situations. Um, and so now when I think about what I'm doing now, I'm looking at it in in the way that I've sort of come to where I'm at today with quarters, right? I've been doing this quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four podcast structure for a little bit now. I mean, it comes from my learning process of business because I didn't go to school. I didn't go to school for business. I went to school for media. I went to school for video production. And the things that I learned at the University of Hawaii were more aligned with writing scripts, doing paperwork, um, showing up to do a job on a production set, and renting equipment from the PBS that was on the corner, which I can't remember what the name of the, I guess it was the communications department or whatever that was renting out the equipment. But I never rented the equipment because I wanted to send. I didn't want my success to be accredited to somebody else's thing. Like, I guess that's maybe why I kind of have this kind of polar I'm polarizing in the sense that I look at traditional ways that people make money in the world, like working at Outback Steakhouse, as like putting all your hard-earned work into something that you'll never be able to say is yours. Like you can own it's like when an employer says you own your work, and it's like the work you're doing, you're getting 2% of the overall earnings that come from the work that you're doing. You're not getting 100% of the deal. That's the deals that you're making as a service industry worker are not lucrative in your favor. It's not a 80% 20% deal in your favor. It's a 80% deal in the favor of the employer and 20% deal in favor of you. Like, that's a terrible deal. Even the best deals are always in your favor, but there are some times in which it's more 50-50. And if you can have a 50-50 deal, then make a 50-50 deal, right? But whenever you can apply this to marriage as well. Like, you get into a relationship with a person, male or female, and you guys don't have a prenuptial, you don't have agreement beforehand, you get married, and then the person who suggests that you're out of line, or for whatever reason, maybe you have kids involved, like, you taking advantage of it, especially if you're the one who's the breadwinner, the one that's bringing the most to the table. Which is interesting because, companies often want to say that, they're bringing money, and money is more, they're bringing the money to the table, and that's more important than the exposure or the quality of their work, than the things and the value that the employee brings to the table. But sometimes as an employee or a contractor, you bring more value than the employer does, and that's where the relationship is. It's just not appropriately balanced, and so I relate that to, like, those horror stories about that you hear of, like, men getting taken advantage of when they're the ones that make the most money in a situation, and the wife, the young trophy wife, like, or whatever, just they extort the husband into paying them a ridiculous amount of money, sort of like this extortion thing that just happened with Bill Cosby and his relationship with the side piece that he had. And that it's wild. It's wild because as you grow older, you start to retain these stories that ultimately lead to your reflection on those stories to see how you're going to behave, or what actions you'll take in scenarios where something may not go in your favor. Yeah, and so with everything that I'm looking at now, I'm taking all of this experience that I have built up, struggling, clawing my way to being this successful, and I'm the most successful that I've ever been in my entire life. Forget about like high school, getting straight A's. Forget about graduating college. Forget about anything. Like, it doesn't. None of that. No accolades matter. Like, personally, I look at myself and I think, man, you're doing a great job, but you're also failing at a lot of things too. And I recently had this realization and this perspective, because I'm really doing the best I've ever done in my entire life. But at the same time, physically failing. I am so stagnant. My progress as a person is not moving. In high school, I played football. I also did auto tech, and I also was a volunteer, and I was a mentor, and I was good at school. Like, I did that's multiple different things. I could add. And in college, I kind of started to slow down. I was not. I mean, I participated in school activities, and in college, it's different, because like what you're doing is more aligned with your extracurricular activity than it is when you're in high school. Because in high school, like, you're just learning the basics, and then you're like learning in college, you're learning an expertise, a skill set to a degree, more along the lines of learning an expertise, because a college degree is supposed to display to other people that you're highly proficient at that particular activity. And I don't think I'm super highly proficient at video production or script writing or anything in the motion picture and film business. But I know how to do business in motion picture and film. So, I mean, that's different, I guess. And I guess I learned that from independent film production. Shout out Lizette Flannery for her class. But her class really didn't teach me shit. It didn't teach me. It was a lot of paperwork, and it was a lot of like reading books and stuff like that. But like, that's like, it's not the real world. The real world is like brokering deals. It's about like, if people were taught how, like, if there was like I was telling my mom this actually at the last family dinner. It's like, if she had sat me down when I was younger and said that in order to get an apartment as a self-employed individual, you need a Schedule C, and you need to have made this amount of money, and you better have this amount of contracts, and you look, and in 1099s and everything collated together, you made this much at the end of the year, this much at the end of the year, this much was in how much you did when you write off all your business expenses. This is how you get your checking account aligned up. Boom, boom, boom. This is how you connect it. This is how you do all your taxes. Boom, boom, boom. And then this is how you play the game when it comes to getting your first apartment, to getting your first house, to getting to getting your first car, to getting a loan, to just like anything in this capitalist world we do is based off of like how your what your paperwork looks like in the form of the taxes that you paid to the IRS. Like that's what it is. It's like, it's not whether you have a job with a W-2 or 1099. It's what paperwork can you show as far as the government confirming this information. It's like, if you show to your government that between the combination of W-2 and 1099 and paper money that you made, and your government's like, this is your Schedule C, you go to whoever you want to get a loan from, or whoever you want to get an apartment from or get a house from, you show them how much money you made, you pay it in cash, you pay it in, but you definitely, if you're playing the game, it's bad to pay in cash, like especially with a car or with a house. You don't pay in cash because of negative equity and all these other things. But having a good credit score is also incredibly important when it comes to getting loans and things like that. But you just don't get taught these things. And when I was, when you're in an independent production class, they're trying to teach you all the paperwork, but they don't teach you the deals. Like they don't do simulations where it's like, okay, here's your, because they don't pretend enough. That's the thing. It's like they don't run drills at all. It's always the real thing. They don't pretend like you created pretend like you're a producer of notoriety. I'm trying to think of one. The producers are hard to remember, but like pretend you're Ben Affleck, or pretend you're Joseph Gordon-Levitt, or pretend you're Steven Spielberg, pretend you're someone like that, and you just came out with a brand new film, and this film, you want to get it funded. You don't want to get it, well, maybe you want to get it financed, or maybe you want to get a film funded. So you go to a production studio and you say, I've got this script, or I've got this idea, and I'm willing to give up 30% equity in this film in exchange for $250,000 to $1 million worth of capital. So the production studio says, okay, we'll do a deal at 75% for let's say they say 75% for 750,000. Okay. And you're like, okay, so my original ask was 30% for $1 million. And so you can either rebut that and say, well, I don't want to give up I don't want to give up an additional 45% of my film. So how can I get to a number that better suits? And you can go to one or two directions. You can split the difference, or you can say, okay, wait, these people want to own me. I don't want them to own me. So let me go with a lower number and say I do 20, let's do 15% for 250,000. Let's do that. And they come back and they say, wow, okay. And they make the deal. That's how you do deals. And nobody teaches that. I had to learn that. I'm 24, 25 years old, and I started to get a sense of what that is. 24, 25 years old, because as I was going through life, I'm like, well, I want to make $15 an hour. I want to make $20 an hour. I want to make, I got to make $25 an hour. They need to raise the minimum wage to $15. That is stupid. That's not how you make deals. That's how you get fucked. Pardon my French, but that's how you get taken advantage of. And that's how everybody who works in a service industry job operates. It's terrible. They go to Chili's or Walmart or T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, just to cover all the bases there, and they sign these deals to give up 40 hours a week for maybe, if they're lucky, a W-2 opportunity with healthcare, dental, and vision, and PTO, and all of these opportunities. But screw that. Like, that's in the way that the world works right now, that's just a bad deal. It's a bad deal. It looks like a lucrative deal because you're thinking like, oh, everything's taken care of. It's all taken out of my my taxes are taken out. For me, my health care, my dental, all this stuff is taken care of. It ain't really like that, Sally. It ain't really like that, Johnny. It ain't, because at the end of the day, you're gonna realize you get this bill for, unfortunately you had caught something. You caught something. Sadly, you caught leukemia. Sadly, you got cancer. Sadly, you got something. You got some sort of terrible, horrible disease, and now you check your HMO or your healthcare, and it turns out it doesn't cover it. And it's because you made that bad deal. You did a deal with a corporation that wasn't looking out for your best interests. That's that's a big fear. That's like a terrible fear. That's some horrible shit. Like, but at the same time, it's what a lot of people want. It's really what a lot of people just want. That they just want their lives to be taken care of for them, whether that be from a corporation or from like another person. Like, they just want they want to settle in a way, like settle for a worse deal, so that it seems like it's easier. It seems like it's easier, but at the end of the day, it's harder, because you sign a deal like that. And what happens when you sign a deal like that is you get what they call a right to work. We are a right to work country. And at any point in time, someone doesn't like you, someone, for whatever reason, you get laid off, you just, like, the company shuts down, and you're then put back at the square one. Once again, you're at square one, and you have to struggle, and you struggle again and again and again and again. The struggle in many ways is the reality, because like a lot of things are equivalent in many ways if you start really like thinking about it deeply. If you think about getting taken advantage of by a corporation, but you also think about failing as an entrepreneur, they're very similar in a way. You could be a failed entrepreneur and be homeless, out in the streets, living in a box, addicted to drugs and alcohol, and really a loser in life. And that could suck. That could really suck. And you see it happening a lot now. You see it happening where the number of homeless people in Austin is just skyrocketing. The number of homeless people the number in Los Angeles is just absurd. 500,000 people. What? How many? That's so many people. 40,000 homeless people in Austin. 500,000 homeless people in Los Angeles. Ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And there's not enough housing to go around here in Austin. There's not enough. The economy, the money that's going around, there's not enough money to house everyone. There's not enough houses. There's a housing shortage. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I never even, growing up as a child, these things were never this is not what you were afraid of. That you were afraid of much crazy things. You weren't afraid of the system. You weren't afraid that there wouldn't be enough for everyone. And people talk about, there's enough for everyone. America's the most wealthy country in the world. Infrastructurally, sure. Roads. But if you notice, you just take a look around. Every road's under construction. Toll roads are owned by the Chinese government. That Spain owns some of the toll roads, as well. Other countries own property in the United States that the American citizens use to do what? It's just hard to say. I mean, we just compete. We're in a video game. It's called the United States. It's like we're in a game. This is a game. It's like Monopoly or chess or something. We're all kind of just in the rat race to make $1, and we just want to make $1. We just want to stack our chips in the best way possible. So when I talk to gamblers, people who play slots all day, or I talk to people who play poker for a living, or pool, or billiards, proper billiards, or sports athletes, or people who wager money or whatever, it's is that what we're supposed to be doing? Is that real life? Because the grind and the hustle and the sacrifice and suffering that is connected to spending 40 hours a week slaving over a computer, or making sandwiches at Subway, or doing basically, I mean, I say this a lot, so I say this: indentured servitude to a corporation is in some way a lower risk gamble than going to Las Vegas and betting it all on black or red. I don't know. I just find it very confusing. Life is so confusing in this way. I talk to, adult entertainers, from OnlyFans models to exotic dancers at gentlemen's clubs, and the government is not, by no means, making it easier for them to do business, and basically puts a lot of them at risk and in jeopardy of doing things that otherwise they wouldn't do if there were a safer environment for them to transact and do their business. They are forced to go to other states, go to other countries, because the regulatory bodies are less constraint on the behavior, their choice or line of work that they want to do. So, like, who's to determine? Who's to determine? Why is it that this random person that gets voted to office is the end all be all decision maker on some of these things? It's like, I don't know this person. I don't respect that person. Their credentials aren't accredited in my world. And by a lot of accounts, a lot of these people are in positions of power fraudulently. And that's the problem. And I'm not talking about the president of the United States. I could care less about the president of the United States. That's the top thing. It's not the problem is never at the tippity top. It's the cards that fall in line. It's the cabinet. It's the Oval Office. It's the Chinese government. It's the system. It's not. It's the people that exploit loopholes in the system at the highest level. It's not the small guys. It's not the people like you or me. It's not. And if you are a corporate overlord or a government Gestapo or something like that is listening to what I have to say, it's honestly ironic. It's honestly it's very funny, because you're not serving the people. You're not serving. You're serving a select version, a select few people of society, an upper echelon, the bourgeoisie, the aristocracy. That's what you're serving. You're not. Your services are not improving the quality of life of the average person. It's just not happening. Public servants are not public servants. They are private entity protectorates. That's what they are. They're not public servants. That's just the reality, because of special interest and lobbying groups and things and what's interesting about that is, like, if they played the game the appropriate way, where they didn't take office in those places that are intended to be office or systems for the greater good. I think I wouldn't be as critical of them. I don't think people would be as critical of them. Although, to a certain degree, people, there is a subsect of people who are nihilist in a way, that they would rather be oppressed by their own government than see someone be successful in the open market. And that's very sick, in my opinion. Mentally, those people are they suffer from mental illness, and it's almost like the mental illness of wanting to be the teacher's pet without wanting to be the teacher. without wanting to be the authority. No, that's a bad example. Well, yeah, I mean that is a sort of a good example, but it's not the best example. A better example would be being a janitor for for a school district, but never wanting to own your own cleaning company. That's a good example of being in the shit, getting shit on, but not wanting to clean up after your own shit, but also be the shitter. Like, that's the thing. And I know that's a crass way to put it, but I guess in other ways to put it would be like being the garbage person, creating the garbage, but not wanting to be the one that develops a new way to process garbage, but just being garbage creators. Just straight garbage people. That's what it is. And I don't know. I think that the process is discovering who you want to be in a tribe of people, and what you want that tribe to represent. What do you want its mission to be? And now I'm going towards like the business minded aspect, but like I'm just trying to make sure that, you know, there's a balance between the good and the evil portions of, it's just the good and the bad. It's not like good and evil. It's good and bad. Like what is beneficial and what is not beneficial to improving your own life and other people's lives. Yeah. And so in a summation and in closing, I would just say that I work towards getting more people involved in the things that they want to do in life versus the rat race, grind, depletion, sacrifice of things that they are doing that they don't want to do. Like, that's what I would want to see that people. That's my goal in life, is to remove that from people's lives and my own. I just want to grow to another level. I want to be able to somehow get aligned with another person in a way, maybe on a personal note, with a woman that has their own shit. They have their own stuff. I got my own stuff, and we're both super successful and in our own right, and we don't have to use each other, or we don't need anything other than passion and knowledge and skills and techniques, and like that's what we offer each other. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be too much sex. It doesn't have to be too much of all the things that we had to get first before we got to that point. You know, that's what I want to do. And in the same with business is like being success, getting to the point in which have a successful business that is going to be easy to partner and collaborate with other businesses that are at the same level, and also sort of like I want to give back. So like, but I got to figure out the right way to give back. That's my summation is like, you don't want to give back so you don't want to be overly giving back to where the people who are receiving that give back are trying to sue you or trying to knock you off your game or take you down. That's like not where you want to do. It's not what you want from. You want people to be always like hunting you and try to take advantage of you. Like, you don't want that, and they don't want that. I mean, they don't want that. I don't think they really do. At least, I don't think there's a person out there that's like really out to get people in a. There are people like that. Why am I saying there aren't? There are people that are trying to like take advantage of other people. That's why we have bad in the world. That's why we have evil in the world. I mean, that's just it. Like, this is sad. It's crazy. The crazy portions of this journey in making it in life make it I guess life more meaningful to a degree, but it's also very, very, very difficult and challenging to constantly be fighting these battles. And I don't meet a lot of people who have it easy in life. I don't know really anyone who has it easy in life. I can always see I can always listen to someone and hear their struggles. But the people who have it easy in life, I'm just curious as to like what is their frequency, what is their vibration that makes it so easy for them? Or is it because multi-generational wealth or multi-generational existence? What is the thing that's putting that battery in them that holds them up that much? What keeps them going? Is it a stimulant? Is it a drug? Is it a suppressant? Is there something? Is it someone that they're associated with? What is it that keeps them in this state of easy living, just making it simplistic? It's almost like their lives are like an all-inclusive vacation all the time. They never have to consider where their next meal is coming from. They never have to consider who's going to be there at their birthday party. They just don't have to think about these things because it just happens. And that's the way. They don't have any negative emotions. They have no sorrow. They don't need to be sad. Their emotions are consistently positive because they're not plagued by depression and anxiety and the things that come with being not having control over their financial well-being, their mental or the things that people struggle with, the financial issues, the financial hardships, the constant rat race. That's how do you find yourself more as the scientist than the lab rat, being experimented on by Facebook Cambridge Analyticas and data science and how can a company figure out how to sell you your next apple juice. Oh man, these are some of the things that I think about, and they get kind of compartmentalized in my brain, and I kind of, well, what I do to kind of suppress this constant racing brain thoughts is I listen to music. I put together playlists that make me feel emotions of sadness sometimes. I have playlists for sadness. I have playlists for happiness. And sometimes I just need to be able to kind of just make my brain forget about all of the high level macro social issues going on, and just be like a part of the zombification of the world, where we're just singing tunes, sing-alongs. Sometimes just music, gets stuck in my head to say that's what you say. You say a song gets stuck in your head. That's what people say. That's what I think people say. Maybe they say something different nowadays, like lit and yeet and and ooh and ah. Maybe that's what they say nowadays. I don't know. But what do communities say? That's what it's like. GLHF, good luck, have fun. GG. On a stack. No shot. Just catchphrases, sound bites, colloquialisms, all these different ways to define pretty much the same things. Can people understand you? I don't know. Do people understand me? Probably not. Does that mean I'm misunderstood? Probably. Am I misunderstood? I don't know. I really don't know. I do know that whatever I am is not resonating with, it's not just, virally resonating in the same way that a Logan Paul does, or a Jake Paul, or a McGregor, or those are all people associated with fighting. It's probably a bad example. What is a dude like a David Dobrik, or a Mr. Beast, or those other dudes that are just wild? I guess there's like wild dudes, then dangerous dudes. Those are viral. And then there's, of course, women who are like Pokemans, Karina Koffs, Kim Kardashians, those type of women. Anyway, as in summation of this podcast and this quarter two thought process, I just ask that you go to www.trentknox.com and you check out my website. Give me some feedback on how I can make it better. There's some stuff on there, some resources, both job opportunities, banking stuff on that website. My content, my portfolio, both audio and video, I think, is on that website. And follow me on social media. Pretty much all things are at Trent Knox, or at Trent Knox. TV. I should probably just change it to Trent Knox TV, but I kind of want to own both things. So yeah, follow me on Instagram, Trent Knox TV. Yeah. Peace.